Hi friends, and welcome to Folklore Diaries. Here, we share real-life horror stories and chilling legends from around the world. Some of them happen to our listeners, others have been passed down for years. So get comfortable but stay alert, because the next story might just keep you awake tonight. And if you like true horror stories, consider subscribing. Okay, let's begin. The night air was cold around Himeji Castle, one of the most beautiful castles in Japan. Its tall white walls glowed under the moonlight, making it look like a place from a dream. But behind the beauty, there were secrets hidden in the stones, stories of love, betrayal, and death. Travelers who came near the castle often said they felt something strange. The wind carried whispers. The ground felt heavy, as if the earth remembered every drop of blood spilled there. And in the quietest hours of the night, when even the crickets stopped singing, a faint woman's voice could sometimes be heard. She was counting. 1, 2.3, form 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-inch, and then came the scream. A scream so sharp that even the bravest samurai would tremble. The voice belonged to Okiku, a servant girl whose story had become one of the darkest legends in Japan. Okiku was not born into wealth or power. She was a common girl, brought to the castle at a young age to serve the household. Her life was not easy, but she carried her duties with care. People in the castle noticed her kindness and her beauty. Her black hair fell like silk, her face was soft and pure, and her eyes carried both sadness and strength. Okiku's main responsibility was to guard the 10 golden plates owned by her master, a proud and cruel samurai named Aoyama-san. These plates were priceless, passed down through generations, and losing even one of them would mean punishment by death. Every day, Okiku counted them carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She never failed. She never missed. The plates were safe in her care, but her master's eyes followed her not because of the plates. Aoyama was a man filled with desire and anger. He wanted Okiku for himself, to take her as a mistress against her will. Many times he offered her comfort, fine clothes, and a life without labor, if only she would give herself to him. But Okiku refused every time. She valued her honor more than anything else. Her refusals made Aoyama furious. His pride was wounded. A man like him could not accept rejection, especially from a servant girl. So he decided to destroy her. One night, while Okiku was away, Aoyama stole one of the golden plates and hid it. When Okiku returned, he demanded that she count them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Her hands began to shake. Her face grew pale. She searched again and again, but there were only 9. The 10th plate was gone. Aoyama shouted in anger, accusing her of theft. Okiku cried and swore she was innocent, but her master only laughed. His trap had worked, and before the night ended, her body was thrown into the deep stone well in the castle courtyard. Her screams echoed until the water silenced her, but death did not end her story. It was only the beginning. The night after Okiku's death, Himeji Castle was silent. The guards patrolled as usual, but something felt wrong. The torches flickered strangely, casting shadows that seemed alive. Even the wind carried a chill heavier than winter. At the courtyard well, the stone was dark and damp, smelling faintly of earth and water. No one dared to approach it, but some claimed they saw a shadow moving near the edge. A whisper followed the wind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The first guard to hear it froze. His heart pounded in his chest as he tried to call out, but the words stuck in his throat. Then came the scream, a sharp, desperate scream, echoing through the castle walls. By morning, everyone was talking about it. Servants whispered in corners, their faces pale. They said the ghost of Okiku had returned. She counted the plates that she had never stolen, night after night, always reaching 9, and then letting out a blood-curdling wail. The samurai master, Aoyama, laughed at first, thinking it was the imagination of servants. But the counting continued, growing louder and more terrifying. Sometimes it came from the well itself, other times from empty corridors or even the master's own chambers. Aoyama's nights were no longer peaceful. Every time he tried to sleep, he heard it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He began to feel eyes on him constantly. The shadow of a girl with long black hair appeared at the corner of his vision, vanishing when he looked directly. The plates, once treasured, no longer brought him comfort. They were cursed reminders of his cruelty. The servants, too, grew fearful. Some refused to enter the courtyard at night. Others claimed they were pushed, pulled, or touched by unseen hands. Children cried, saying they saw a pale figure staring at them from the castle windows. Even the castle dogs refused to go near the well. They howled at night, trembling as if sensing something terrible. One night, a brave young servant decided to test the story. He approached the well, lantern in hand, calling out, "Okiku, are you really here?" The water rippled. The air grew cold. And then, in a voice soft yet horrifyingly clear, the counting began. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The young servant ran, tripping on the stones, and did not stop until he reached the safety of his quarters. That night, his dreams were filled with screaming, counting, and a girl's pale face emerging from water, her mouth opening wide in a silent scream. Himeji Castle had changed. The beauty of its white walls and towering spires could not hide the presence of a restless spirit. Okiku was no longer a servant. She was something else, something that would not rest until justice had been served. Days passed, but the terror did not fade. Himeji Castle, once a place of order and discipline, now felt alive with something unearthly. The servants spoke in hushed tones about the counting they could hear at all hours. The sound seemed to come from everywhere. Empty halls, locked rooms, even behind the thick stone walls. Aoyama-san, the samurai master, began to change. His proud gait faltered. He no longer smiled or laughed. Sleep eluded him, replaced by restless nights filled with that endless counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The sound was no longer distant. It came from inside his own room, as if Okiku had followed him there. The air turned icy, his breath fogging even in the warmth of his chambers. Objects began to move. Plates rattled on shelves. Candles flickered violently, casting shadows that danced like pale fingers reaching toward him. Aoyama tried to ignore it. He told himself it was guilt, fear, or the imagination of a tired mind. But deep down, he knew the truth. Okiku's spirit had returned, and it was no longer gentle or sorrowful. It was vengeful. One night, he awoke to a soft splash of water. The well outside his window had begun to overflow, sending a cold mist curling into his room. And then he saw her, pale, dripping, and silent. Her long black hair clung to her face. She knelt on the floor, counting the invisible plates, her fingers trembling as if she were still alive and counting the same 10 plates that had caused her death. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. At the 9th count, her head lifted slowly. Her eyes were dark pools of anger and sorrow. She opened her mouth, and a scream louder than thunder filled the room. Aoyama fell to the ground, covering his ears, but the sound seemed to pierce through the walls, through his very soul. From that night onward, the master could not escape her. Every attempt to leave the castle, to travel, or even to hide in secret rooms failed. The counting followed him, through corridors, behind closed doors, and even in dreams. The servants began noticing small but terrifying signs of her wrath. Water in bowls turned black. Plates shattered without cause. Lamps extinguished themselves, leaving darkness that seemed to pulse with a heartbeat. Children would wake screaming, claiming they saw a pale woman in the corner, pointing to the well as if calling out, warning, or accusing. Even other samurai avoided Aoyama. Rumors spread that he had angered a spirit so powerful it could not be reasoned with, only feared. Himeji Castle, once a symbol of strength and nobility, had become a prison of dread for one man. A man whose cruelty had created a spirit he could neither escape nor silence. Okiku's well had become more than a place. It was a symbol of justice from beyond the grave. The ghost of the young servant girl had transformed her sorrow and betrayal into power, binding the castle itself to her presence. And the counting never stopped. Night after night, from the darkness, the chilling voice would rise again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Himeji Castle was no longer just a home for Aoyama Tezu-san and his servants. It had become a place of fear, and the darkness that lingered inside began to seep into the surrounding village. Farmers working near the castle fields whispered about shadows that moved without light. Animals, especially dogs and birds, refused to go near the castle gates. Chickens would stop laying eggs, and cows would wander aimlessly, lowing in panic. Even the wind seemed different, carrying a soft, sorrowful whisper of counting wherever it went. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The villagers knew the voice well. It belonged to Okiku, the girl who had died unjustly, whose spirit now demanded justice. Those who had heard her counting said it was different from human speech. It carried a weight of sorrow, anger, and inevitability. One evening, a traveling merchant stopped at the village inn, unaware of the legend. As he lay down to sleep, he heard the counting outside his window. He thought it was children playing a trick, but when he opened the window, he saw her, pale, wet, hair clinging to her face, staring at him with hollow eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Terrified, he ran into the streets screaming. Villagers rushed out to see, but the ghost vanished before their eyes. From that day on, no traveler dared stay near the castle at night. The innkeepers locked their doors early and prayed that Okiku's spirit would not appear. Even the master, Aoyama, began to notice the villagers' fear. The market was emptying at sunset. People avoided his name and whispered about the ghost of Okiku. Some claimed her spirit demanded the return of the stolen plate, while others said she wanted justice for her wrongful death. The legend grew with every telling. Mothers warned their children not to go near the castle at night. Elders told the story around fires, describing a girl whose fingers trembled as she counted, whose scream could pierce stone. The village itself became a place of caution, a place where people felt the weight of unseen eyes, always watching, always waiting. Even the elements seemed to answer her sorrow. Rain would fall heavily on the castle courtyard while the village remained dry. A chill would settle over the fields in summer. Animals would cower, and the well itself became a source of dread. No one could approach it without feeling a cold hand brush their own. Okiku's presence had grown stronger than anyone could imagine. She was no longer just a servant girl lost to the well. She was a spirit of vengeance, a restless soul whose power reached beyond the castle walls, affecting anyone who dared live near her place of death. And every night, as if reminding the world of her existence, the counting would begin anew, soft at first, then rising into the night air. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Aoyama Tezu's pride had been replaced with fear. Nights were no longer a refuge, but a torment. The counting followed him wherever he went, echoing through empty corridors and bouncing off cold stone walls. No door, no lock, no charm could keep Okiku away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. By now, the servants avoided him entirely. They whispered about how the master had become pale and thin, walking the halls as if haunted by his own sins. He could no longer eat, could barely sleep, and his every thought was consumed with the girl he had wronged. In desperation, he called upon a Shinto priest, a respected exorcist who claimed knowledge of spirits and curses. The priest arrived at the castle, carrying talismans, sacred ink, and chants meant to purify the soul. "Spirit of Okiku," the priest chanted, "you are bound by sorrow. Release your anger and find peace." But the well responded first. The water inside bubbled unnaturally. Mist rose from the stones, curling into shapes like twisted fingers reaching toward the priest. The counting began, but this time it was louder, more forceful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The priest's talismans fluttered and tore, despite being clutched tightly in his hands. The air turned icy, and his breath became visible in the cold, though it was the middle of summer. Aoyama shouted, "Stop it! Please stop!" But the ghost did not listen. She appeared before him, emerging from the mist like a drowned angel. Her long hair was wet and tangled, her her eyes deep pools of endless grief, and her hands trembled as if counting an unseen injustice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The priest tried again, chanting louder, waving the talismans, sprinkling salt, but the ghost only glared. The anger in her eyes was too strong, too pure to be swayed by any ritual. Aoyama realized something terrifying. This was not a spirit that could be negotiated with. It was not a mere ghost seeking release. It was justice itself, incarnate in the form of a young girl wronged by cruelty and betrayal. The master fell to his knees, trembling. He realized that no wealth, no rank, no weapon could undo what he had done. He had stolen a life, and now the very walls of Himeji Castle were aligned against him. That night, the ghost of Okiku did not disappear. She followed him into his chambers, standing silently at the foot of his bed. The counting came not from the well but from the air itself, surrounding him like a net he could not escape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Aoyama's heart raced, pounding against his chest. For the first time in his life, he truly feared death, not the blade of an enemy, not the consequences of the law, but the relentless presence of a wronged spirit that would not forgive, that would not rest. He finally understood. Okiku's revenge was not about pain or fear. It was about remembrance, about making the world know her story, about ensuring that injustice would never be hidden. And in that moment, he realized that the ghost of the well had already claimed him, not with violence, but with eternal dread. Years passed, yet the shadow of Okiku's presence never faded. Himeji Castle continued to stand tall and beautiful, its white walls gleaming in sunlight, but inside, the air carried the weight of an unbroken curse. Servants whispered of footsteps in empty corridors and plates rattling in the dead of night. Travelers spoke of strange lights near the well and a cold wind that seemed to follow them. Okiku's story became legend. Mothers told their children of the girl who had died unjustly, teaching them to respect the living and honor the dead. Villagers would leave small offerings near the castle gates, rice, flowers, and water, anything to appease her restless spirit. Yet, even these offerings could not quiet her fully. The counting continued, echoing through the stone walls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Even centuries later, some claimed to see her at night. A pale figure kneeling by the well, hair clinging to her face, fingers trembling as she counted invisible plates. Others swore they heard the chilling scream at the 9th count, a sound that could pierce the heart of anyone who heard it. Aoyama Tessen's name faded from memory, but his fear remained a cautionary tale. No matter how powerful or wealthy a man might be, the legend reminded everyone that cruelty and injustice could create consequences far beyond death. Himeji Castle itself became a place of pilgrimage for those curious about the supernatural. Ghost hunters, storytellers, and scholars came to witness the well, hoping for a glimpse of Okiku's spirit or to hear her counting. Some claimed they saw her, others left in terror, unable to explain the chilling sensation that clung to the walls. Okiku had become more than a ghost. She had become a symbol of justice, a timeless reminder that a single act of cruelty could ripple through the centuries. And though she was unseen by many, her presence was felt by all who dared enter the castle at night. The well, once just a deep stone pit, was now a shrine of fear. It held her body, her spirit, and the memory of a life stolen too soon. Visitors would swear that the water shimmered strangely under moonlight, as if hiding secrets below its surface. And if one listened carefully, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the counting never stopped. Time flowed like a silent river, yet Himeji Castle remained a place where the past refused to die. The white walls glimmered by day, proud and regal, but at night, darkness seeped into every stone. Those who entered after sunset could feel it, the weight of history, sorrow, and vengeance. Aoyama Tessen's fate became a warning whispered among the villagers. Some said he went mad, wandering the castle halls, hearing the counting and screaming of a ghost he could never escape. Others claimed he disappeared one night, never to be seen again, leaving only the echo of his terrified cries as proof of Okiku's relentless judgment. The castle's servants changed over the years, new faces replacing old. But Okiku did not forget. She did not rest. She became a silent observer, a ghostly sentinel over the golden plates and the stone well that had claimed her life that 18 night. She appeared at the courtyard well, kneeling, counting, her hair clinging to her wet face, eyes dark with sorrow and anger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Some visitors, braver than others, tried to leave offerings of rice, flowers, or water. Yet these gestures did not make her smile, nor did they stop the counting. For Okiku's purpose was not appeasement, it was remembrance, a warning carved into eternity. The ghost became a legend beyond Himeji Castle. Stories traveled across villages and cities, warning that cruelty could create consequences far beyond death. Travelers spoke of ghostly counting, of shadowy figures at the well, and of the scream that could chill blood in the veins. Even today, the well stands, quiet in the sunlight, seemingly innocent. But when the night falls and the moonlight touches the stone, one might hear the faint ripple of water, the soft footsteps in the dark, and the familiar unending counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It is a sound that reminds the world that injustice has memory, that a life taken wrongfully cannot rest quietly, that a ghost like Okiku does not merely haunt. It ensures that those who hear her never forget. And perhaps, somewhere in the shadows of Himeji Castle, Okiku kneels eternally, counting the plates, guarding the well, and watching over the stones where betrayal once claimed her life. A silent witness, a vengeful spirit, and a timeless symbol of justice. For anyone who dares approach the well at night, a simple truth becomes clear. Some wrongs are too deep to forgive, and some spirits never rest. The counting never stops. Thank you for listening to tonight's story. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And remember, not every shadow is empty, and not every voice in the dark is in your head. Good night, and stay safe.